take a look at this. A new Post and Courier Change Research poll of likely South Carolina Democratic voters has Joe Biden at 46%. That's up 10 points from their poll in February. Senator Bernie Sanders is 31 points behind at 15%. And then Senator Kamala Harris in third at 10. Mayor Pete Buttigieg and Senator Elizabeth Warren are tied for fourth at 8. Cory Booker, Beto O'Rourke dropped 6 points since the February poll to low single digits. O'Rourke now tied with Andrew Yang at 2%.
So, Adrian, this is, we always look at Iowa and New Hampshire historically. They're incredibly important states. But I always feel like the real Democratic primary starts in South Carolina, because that's where you have more black voters, more Hispanic voters. It is far more diverse than the 98% white Iowa, or however, whatever those percentages are. They're very high. So this South Carolina poll actually is going to be more reflective of what happens not only in South Carolina, but beyond. And Joe Biden and his team have to feel pretty darn good about those numbers.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Joe. I mean, this poll is huge for Joe Biden. He's widened his lead. And of course, you've got a field of 18 candidates. I don't think that the entire pool of candidates was polled for this this particular poll, but this is significant for Biden. And what it shows and demonstrates is that he does have a lot of support, not only among white working class voters, but among African Americans. And what was particularly surprising to me also about this poll is where Cory Booker is. This is a state that Cory Booker has to either win or finish in the top 2 or 3 for in order to legitimize his campaign and go forward to Super Tuesday. The fact that he's polling around 4% is really surprising to me. He's probably not going to do very well in a state like Iowa or New Hampshire, but South Carolina is a state that he has to do very well in. So Joe Biden's got to be feeling really good today. It's early, but these polls do matter, and they do show that institutional baseline support that candidates need to go forward.
Yeah, Steve Rattner, a lot of people love to talk about how these early polls don't matter, and it makes them feel special. Makes them feel like they're, well, it's early. Yeah, well, you all are just pundits that are involved in a horse, blah, blah, blah. It's so tiring, and they're so wrong. But it makes them feel smart, and so I'm happy when I hear them say that. The fact of the matter is, when you have 45 people running for president and one guy sitting at 46%, bundlers, your friends, people who have been sitting on the sidelines because they don't know who to support, are suddenly going, you know what? Maybe I can support Joe Biden. Maybe he will have a good, clean shot at Donald Trump. Talk about the mindset of what a poll like this and all these other polls do for bundlers and people that help fund presidential campaigns.
Well, first, from where we all sit, clearly Biden's executing a strategy that was very deliberate on his part, which is to get out of the gate strong, to not make any mistakes, and to try to get to exactly where this kind of a poll shows him being, which is the presumed front runner, the kind of presumed nominee almost, if you will, and thereby draw in the bundlers and all the other people who are on the sidelines. You may have seen yesterday in the Washington Post a really good story about how many of the Obama people are still on the sidelines. Unlike what happened after the Clinton campaign with Al Gore in 2000, a lot of people are still watching and waiting. I would say it has not yet quite happened in my world. There are literally events today in New York for Mayor Pete and for Beto and many others coming. And among my friends who do this, I think they're quite split. I don't know that many who've yet chosen to sign up for Biden, and a number have basically followed kind of the Obama playbook of looking for a fresh new face, another generation. And then the largest percentage of them are still watching and waiting to see, frankly, if the Biden phenomenon is real, because it is still early. It is a meaningful poll, but we all know Biden's got a lot to prove in terms of his ability to conduct an effective campaign. And so there's still a lot of watching and waiting going on in my world.
We have a lot of 2020 news to get to. Mayor Pete's response to President Trump when he kind of came up with a name for him. Oh, it was so good. And we have Elizabeth Warren in the news as well. But we want to get to some of the other headlines, and then we'll dive back into politics. President Trump has taken particular interest in this year's 4th of July celebration in the nation's capital. The Washington Post reports the president has made changes to more than half-a-century tradition, moving the fireworks display from its usual spot on the National Mall to be closer to the Potomac River, and is planning a potential address to the nation from the steps of the Lincoln Memorial.
Dear Lord.
Officials said it is unclear how much the changes may cost. Actress Felicity Huffman is due back in court today, expected to formally plead guilty for her role in the college admissions scandal. Huffman is one of more than a dozen parents who have agreed to plead guilty for participating in a network of wealthy parents who, between them, paid millions of dollars to get their children into prestigious colleges. The Desperate Housewives actress admitted to paying $15,000 for a proctor to correct her oldest daughter's SAT answers, and agreed to plead guilty to conspiracy to commit mail fraud during a court appearance last month. Huffman could face between 4 to 10 months behind bars, a year of probation, and a $20,000 fine.
What's happened to Aunt Becky? Have you heard anything
Yeah,
of that? Because I know you're following this very closely.
She doesn't want to admit that she did anything wrong, and thinks it was a big misunderstanding, and that it was just what everybody did, and that she got caught up in something that she didn't understand at all.
The $500,000. Here's your $500,000
Her child,
check. Get my
2
child
kids.
in USC. Oh,
Her
is that a
child, 2 kids, and
$500,000
pictures
check?
of them in crew gear to look like they were rowers. When they weren't, they were Instagram stars. At least one of them. Anyhow,
You know,
rough.
Mika, we people don't know this about us, but we watch probably 150 to 200 NBA games a year
No, we
at our
don't.
house. Get big gulps out, and
Look at
and
this thrilling
popcorn.
finish.
But this had to be. Mika said this was one of the best
Till last
games
night's-
she's seen. Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.